Howdy, and welcome to Brandi's Book Stack. Today I thought we'd talk about several book hauls that I recently did, as well as our recent trip to New York City, and a trip to Dallas as well. So stick around and let's jump into the stacks. So the first thing I did want to talk about, if I can find it, is a book that I purchased before we went on our vacation. I had gone into our local half-price books and I found this, which is a copy of St. Valentine's Day by Sir Walter Scott. I collect Sir Walter Scott novels, particularly the Waverley novels, and this is number 21 from a series of, a collection of his novels. And I do this a lot. I like to get books from different collections from all over. This one's really old. It was from 1845. So, it's pre-Civil War, and it's in pretty darn good shape considering. So I was really excited to find this, and it was at the unbelievably low price of $3. $3. I mean, that's incredible to me. So that was a great deal I found before I left. And then let's talk about my trip to New York City. So the first place we went to and visited was the famous Strand bookstore. And I'm sure you've heard, if you're into the BookTube community, you've probably heard about the Strand bookstore before. And if you're like me, you've heard just glowing things. Oh my gosh, this is where all your bookish dreams will come true. Well, I hate to say it, but that just wasn't the case for me. I went into this not expecting to find any great deals. I know New York is an inexpensive place to run a business. Real estate's very expensive, so obviously that's going to get passed on to the consumer to at least some degree. And that was certainly the case. Most of the used books I looked at were not what I would typically see for a price of a used book in Oklahoma. But again, I didn't expect that. What I was hoping to find was maybe a lot of unique used books that I don't find in my local area. And of course, with any used bookstore, things vary from season to season and time to time, just based on what they get in stock. And I think the Strand is a place where more people visit than probably turn in books for resale. So maybe that's why I didn't really find a huge amount of books that I just felt I had to have. I did purchase a book while I was there, and I will show that to you. And that is this pretty nice edition of Wilkie Collins' short stories. And I got this for $10, which wasn't, a ripoff, but it certainly wasn't a steal either for a used book. And you'll see in a minute what I mean when I say a steal for a used book. But it is very nice, and I do really love Wilkie Collins' writing, so I was excited to get this. I also bought some bookmarks when I was at the Strand that were more than my book cost, completely outrageously priced, but when in Rome. I bought this really pretty Strand bookmark, which is kind of that leather-like feel, but it was $13. Oh, it pained me to spend that much on a flippin' bookmark, but I collect bookmarks, so this was kind of a big souvenir for me. The next, it was another bookmark that I got that has the Statue of Liberty and the Empire State Building on it, and it's metal. This one was $15. Again, an enormous price for a bookmark, but only in New York City once. And since I collect them, I did get one of these. Now, a couple of other places, I did get some other bookmarks. I got one at the Statue of Liberty for about $4. A lenticular one, so she's always looking at you, right? And then I got this one of the Skyline, also lenticular, at an I Heart New York store for about $4. So that was kind of fun. I think that another reason I didn't enjoy the Strand bookstore as much as I might otherwise have is because we had walked all day. I've said before on the channel, I'm a bigger lady, and New York involves not just a lot of walking, but a lot of stairs. I was prepared a little bit for the walking, but not so much the stairs. Other large cities I've been to have a lot of escalators. New York does not. It's just stairs, 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 stairs. We had also walked all day at the Metropolitan Museum of Art before we went to the Strand. So by the time I got there, it was close to closing. I had to go to the restroom, and we hadn't been able to find one. I was overwhelmed by books and just wanted to look at books. And by the time I went to use the bathroom, it was too close to closing, and they had already closed it down before the store closed. So it kind of made my overall experience not as fun as it might otherwise have been. I also don't like the fact in New York, all bookstores are like this. And again, I understand why. It's the space limitations, right? But I hate the fact that the bookshelves go up so high. And as a vertically challenged person, I can't reach the books. Well, and no person could reach the books on the very top shelf without assistance, maybe Michael Jordan or somebody like that, but certainly not me. And, you hate to ask somebody for assistance. They have those little wooden rolly ladders, which are really cool, but as an overweight person are kind of scary to step on, because the last thing you want to do is break their wooden ladder. So that made it a little less enjoyable as well. But we also went to a used bookstore around the corner from the Strand. I think you might be more likely to find a good deal or something unique and surprising in that store, even though it was much smaller. But as far as the Strand goes, it's a fine bookstore. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you're looking for it to make all your bookish dreams come true, at least for this girl, it didn't do it. Oh, and I didn't show my last bookmark. I did also get this one at like an I Heart New York store, $6 for this cute little magnetic one. Has the Brooklyn Bridge on the inside. So I thought that was kind of neat. We also went to, and I didn't get any video footage of the Strand. I was so tired. My feet hurt so bad. And I was just in such a bad place, I think, when we got there. I just wasn't interested in shooting video. But I did get video of the Barnes & Noble that we went to, which is the largest bookstore in the world, square footage wise. I think Powell's in Seattle has more books wise. That's on my bucket list. But we went to the Barnes & Noble, and I was much more impressed with the Barnes & Noble, weirdly, than I was with the Strand. It is huge, like you would expect. But very well organized, friendly staff, and they let you use the bathroom for free, which I greatly appreciate. And I do have a little bit of footage I'll share with you for that. You can see this is pretty extensive, but this is just one of 4 floors that was there. This is the fiction floor, so that's why I kind of focused on it, but pretty big. And I did buy a couple of books there, mainly kind of as a thank you for letting me use the bathroom. The first one is, I just went to their Cozy Mystery because they had such a great selection, and got this Peg and Rose Solve a Murder by Lorien Berenson. Sorry about that. And I just thought it looked cute. 2 elderly ladies solving a murder. Sounds like fun. That was about $9, which for me is hard to spend that kind of money on a book. And then the next one is this Ordeal by Fire. This was on their clearance shelf for $3, much more my kind of price. This is a medieval mystery story, and it's by Sarah Hawkeswood. So I'll let you know how both of those are when I get a chance to read them, but those are a couple that I got there. And that was pretty much it for my New York bookish experience. I'm sure there's a lot of other great bookstores in New York. But like most people, I was a tourist, and we were there to do a lot more than just see books. We did a lot of the museums and eating food and going to Broadway shows and all that kind of thing. So, and I was also, like most people, limited in what I could bring back due to my luggage and weight restrictions. My husband had offered that if I found just a ton of cool stuff that I could ship it media mail back to the house, but that wasn't necessary because I just didn't find anything that was that spectacular that I had to bring home. Once we did get home, however, we did have an opportunity to go to my local Half Price, where we discovered they put a bunch of their classic literature that's older or in prestige copies on a tremendous sale, and I'm going to share those things with you. So first is this copy of Moll Flanders. It's a Heritage Press edition, and it was $5. And it's in this beautiful copy. It has some illustrations in it. You can kind of see. Here's an example of one. And let me get that back in there. And I mean, what a deal. This is already, half the price of the book I bought at the Strand. And a pretty impressive slipcased Heritage Press version copy. The next one I got, this is another one that was $5. Again, a slipcased version of Silas Marner by George Eliot. And by the way, I've not read Moll Flanders yet, and I haven't read Silas Marner yet. So maybe I'll like these, maybe I won't. But if I do, I have them in a pretty nice copy. This is the version of Silas Marner. Again, it's a Heritage, I believe it's a Heritage Press version. Let's see. Yes, Heritage Press. And again, it's got some nice illustrations and things. The next is a more modern novel. This is T.S. Eliot's Murder at the Cathedral. Tells the story of Thomas Becket, which is, I've always found to be an interesting story. And, but I have not read T.S. Eliot's take on it, so I thought that would be great, and it was $3. The next is a mystery story by Ellery Queen, one of the noted heroes of mystery literature. And this is, again, a nice hardback copy for $3. Pretty impressive. The next is a book I had heard good things about. It's another nice slipcased cover. And that is Reed's The Cloister and the Hearth. This was $5. And the slipcase has certainly seen better days, but I don't really care about the condition of the slipcase as much as the condition of the book, which the book is in pretty great condition. And again, it's another Heritage Press. So, and it's got some pretty interesting illustrations in it. So hopefully I'll like that one. Oh. Heritage Press always comes with these little sandglass newsletter-y type of things to tell you something about the book. So slip that back in there if I can get it in. Oh, that's why. It's like something's not right. Okay, the next thing I bought at that half price is this $3 block of romance novels. Which you might say, Brandi, romance novels really aren't your thing usually. Well, you're right. But this one had a novel by Jane Fraser, which is Rosamund Pilcher's pseudonym. So I bought this whole block essentially for that one book. However, I might give some of these other mysteries these romances a little try. But I specifically bought it for the Jane Fraser novel. Next on the list is this older copy of Tennyson's The Idylls of the King. And again, this was $3. Can't turn down bargains like that. I'm trying to keep everything from falling. The next is one of my favorite finds. And that is The Collected Works of Emile Zola. And look at that cover. Isn't that incredible? In the spine. I thought that was so beautiful. And this one was for $3. That's kind of incredible. $3 for that. And it does have a little bit of damage, this one. And I don't know who this, let's see, who published this? I don't know. But at any rate, it does have a little bit of damage in the spine, but it's still very, very readable. It holds together pretty well. I think I'll have no problem reading this novel, and the cover is just so cool. I just dig that. And then next is really the piece de resistance, and that is Thomas Hardy's Return of the Native. This beautiful cover. This is an Easton Press, leather bound, with the beautiful end papers. And this was a grand total of $7. My goodness. How can I say no to that? That's just such a deal. And it's in perfect shape. There's just nothing wrong with this book. So I thought that was a spectacular deal. So that concludes my purchases at our half price here locally, except for I did get a couple of bookmarks there, and their bookmarks are 50 cents, which is much more in line with my spending habits. So, and this one says, disturb me while I am reading and see what happens. I thought that was cute. So, once we got back home, like I said, we took a week off to kind of recuperate from our New York vacation before we had to go back to work. And on Thursday, my husband said, hey, why don't we go to Dallas for just a quick jaunt? And we did. And so the first place we stopped was a bookstore called Recycled Books in Denton, Texas. It's on the way between Oklahoma City and Dallas. So we stopped in there. This is a very good bookstore in some respects. If you are a mystery reader, if you're really into pulp, or if you're into literature, they're really good in those three genres. They do have also a pretty large graphic novel selection if you're into that. My husband's kind of more into that than I am, but they have a pretty good selection of those as well. But their literature to me is probably my favorite part. And I do have some footage of that store for you to see it. You can see these are their prestige books, Easton Press, Franklin Press, right here. And then a little to the right, you'll see the folio edition and the Heritage Press. They were a little pricey, so I didn't get any of those. And here you can see they have a very extensive pulp selection. This is one side of the pulp bookcases that they had. And then this is the other side. So a lot for if you're a pulp lover. You can see some of the ones highlighted there. This is their science fiction area, which looks really large, but it's really just lengthy bookshelves. There weren't a lot of books on them. This is the best part, being the literature section. You have to go upstairs and it has its own room. And then this is the view down from the literature section to sci-fi. The one thing I'll say, customer service at that store is a little iffy. We've had some kind of weird experiences there, But it does have a pretty good selection, especially in literature. So if that's what rocks your world, it's a good place to stop. They just didn't happen to have anything that I felt that I needed. And then from there, we moved on to the large half-price books on Northwest Highway, I'm sorry, in Dallas. And it is pretty incredible. If you've never been to the Dallas area and you end up coming for a visit, I highly recommend going to that bookstore if you are a bookish person, because it is enormous. And if you're looking for something, you're very likely to find it. If you don't happen to find it at that very large half-price books, they have a ton of half-price books all over the Dallas Metroplex. And you can have lots of opportunities to look and poke around and see if there's anything that you would like. And I did find at the large half-price books this A Thanksgiving Visitor and A Christmas Memory by Truman Capote. I've read A Christmas Memory and I really loved it, but I hadn't read The Thanksgiving Visitor, and it has this nice slipcased copy. And I got that for $7, which was a pretty good deal in my opinion. So we got that one. We also got these Todd McCaffrey books. Todd McCaffrey is Anne McCaffrey's son. And I had been wanting to finish the Pern series that he picked up where his mother left off and see how those are. So I got these 3 novels, and I'm going to check those out. And they were about $4 a piece. So I have some footage of the half-price bookstore for you to take a look at. I hope you really enjoy that. Here you can see a panoramic view of the store. Everything's bigger in Texas. Here you can see the rarer books, literature, and collectible items. I've got some good deals in this section. Here are the pricier books that they keep locked up. And then, of course, this is our Easton Press, Franklin Press, sort of prestige editions. And they also have a great area where you can sit and look at the books you're considering purchasing and meet with friends. Here's an area that they have a little room that's separate where they often have book club meetings, which is pretty cool. And then here you can see their extensive fiction sections. The mystery section and science fiction sections are similar in size. And then here is a final panoramic view of the store. As you can see, it's pretty large. And that's kind of the end of my book hauls. I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit about 3 different cities, Oklahoma City, New York, and of course Dallas. Take a time to check those out if you get the opportunity. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and click that bell. Bye.